What is going on, everyone? My name is the California Cougar, and today I continue my Survivor Season series reviews, and I'm going to be talking about Survivor Africa today, the show's third season. This one took place in Kenya on a game reserve, I think, basically out in the savannah, and yeah. So Survivor Africa is regarded as one of the lesser seasons, especially since a lot of people think the first two seasons were so good. This season, not as much, and I do tend to agree with them for the most part. This season does have its moments for sure, but in comparison to season 1 and season 2, it's just not nearly as good as either of them, I don't think. But there are some good things about this season. First of all, the cast. The cast, I do think, is strong. I don't think it's quite as strong as Season 1, or especially not Season 2. But it's still a strong cast. I mean, you have people like Silas, Lindsay, Clarence, and then, of course, you have the big guns like Lex, Ethan, and Big Tom. And Teresa's always really good. Frank and Brandon, you have that. So the cast is decent, I would say. Again, not as strong as some of the other seasons, but it's decent enough. Lex, Tom, and Lex, Tom, and Ethan are really the ones that carry the whole season and make the season like what it is, as memorable as it is. But yeah, so as for some of the moments that this season has, there's a few really good moments. Like in the pre-merge I do think is a lot of fun to watch. I mean, you have moments like, you have the old versus young going on the Samburu tribe, where it's like Carl and Lindsay, they have a tie vote at their first tribal council, and like since neither of them had previous votes cast against each other, they have to take a quiz, and the first one to get an answer wrong when the other person gets an answer right is out, and then Carl lost. And then, of course, you have Linda. Like, if you've watched Island of the Idols, yeah, Nora on Island of the Idols, like, Linda was basically the old version of Nora, if you know what I mean. A lot of people don't talk about Linda that much, but yeah, Linda was this crazy lady. She's mainly known for the cow blood drinking challenge, that second immunity challenge. But other than that, yeah, she's not really known for much else. But yeah, I just remember her. She reminded me a lot of Nora this season. So yeah, I was glad to see her voted out when she was, because she was crazy and kind of annoying. So yeah, you had the whole old versus young thing, and then of course the big twist, the swap, the first ever tribal swap on the show, which completely screwed Silas. You want to define swap screwed? Silas. He's the original swap screwed guy, and I don't think anyone's gotten screwed harder than him in, ever by a swap. And Lindsay got screwed pretty hard, too. I mean, it was only 3 people per tribe, but you have to remember there were only 12 people left when this swap happened. Back then, there were 16 people on Survivor. After Linda was voted off, she was the 4th voted off, and then the swap happened, and 3 people per tribe. There were 6 people on each tribe. So that's half the tribe right there. It might not seem like a lot these days, but back then, it was a lot. It was half the damn tribe. So yeah, Frank and Teresa getting swapped over, and they used the Baron members to oust Silas, and then over on the other side, you have the old Samburu, they're fighting for their lives against the new Baron, the Baron members. The Baron members split their votes, and then they managed to get some information about how Lindsay had votes cast against her, and that's how they got Lindsay out. So yeah, they got that information, they used it to get Lindsay out, and that's really what happened. to them. So yeah, both of them got pretty much completely ruined by it. Now, not that Lindsay was all that memorable. I mean, she fainted during a challenge, so I guess that's the main thing. But yeah, and then of course, like yeah, that's the main part of the swap. That's really it for the pre-merge. And then the post-merge happens, and the first 2 episodes of the post-merge are gold. I will say that. The first 2 episodes of the post-merge are absolute gold, because you have Lex, or actually you have the first episode where Clarence gets blindsided after standing up on they did that challenge where they're holding their arm up on a bucket. I always love that endurance challenge. And they're getting tempted down with food and all that. Clarence ends up giving in to Teresa. And then Clarence gets blindsided. So I thought that was a good episode. And then the second episode was even better, I thought. Or actually, no, it's the second 2 episodes, not the first episode. But still, Clarence blindside was glorious. And then, of course, you have Lex, who just gets super triggered over having a vote cast against him. Like, I've never seen anybody cry so much over one vote being cast against him. He was like, oh, there's a snake. We need to smoke out this snake. And yeah, Kelly Goldsmith, I think it's you. So that moment was hilarious. You have Lex and Ethan going on that goat reward as well, where they're going to the village, they have to trade goats. It's a stupid reward, but it was good TV. And then Brandon flipping on them. And then after that, the third episode, I completely forgot about this third episode. Like, Brandon flipped to get Kelly out. Like, it was Baran against Kelly, and then like Kelly went over to the Samburu members to try and get Lex out, but Brandon flipped, so it didn't work. And then, of course, the next episode, Brandon and Frank, you have that whole rivalry. Frank, he's an interesting character. Let me just say, he's a very interesting character. Like, he had these 2 antlers as his luxury item, and he just bangs them against each other, like, before a challenge. I thought that was kind of funny, but also kind of crazy. Yeah, and then, of course, before he got voted out, his whole political rants, like, that was kind of uncomfortable to watch, but other than that, he was still an interesting character. And his whole thing, his rivalry with Brandon, such an underrated rivalry. Like you have that, they win a reward together. They're on a team together, randomized teams, and they have to watch Out of Africa together at this movie theater, Survivor movie theater. They're forced to bond over it, but they don't like each other. It was the craziest, like, most awkward thing ever, but it was funny as hell. So there's that, and then of course another moment, Lex and Tom on the safari and the hot air balloon. That was the best reward at the time, I think. Like, definitely the best reward at that time. The show, like, this season had some good rewards, and plus its location, it gets a lot of criticism for its location, but honestly, I think this is one of the best locations that the show has ever done. Because, like, they're surviving in the savannah. They have lions running up on their camp at night, so it's super scary for them. Like, I wouldn't want to be on that type of season, but it's great TV. It's great fun to watch. Yeah, lions running up on their camp. Like, they have an encounter with a Cape buffalo, which scared the crap out of everybody. Elephants. It's just a really cool location. And I know people think it's too harsh. They had water. They did. They had plenty of water. But yeah, even though it is kind of harsh, but it's a location I wish Survivor would go back to. Again, I made this point last week in my Outback review, where Survivor's just staying in Fiji forever, I guess, because Jeff Probst wants that. Like, I want to see new locations. Or, like, bringing back old locations like China, Africa, the Outback, or Gabon, like locations like that we just don't see anymore. It doesn't have to be on the ocean every freaking season. So, yeah, like, I want to see that come back again. Now for the negatives, and there's a lot of negatives. The main thing is, though, that especially after the Brandon boot, The rest of the season is so slow. It's just a slog to get through because you know every vote that's going to happen. I mean, the Barra members just pagon the old Samburu members off. Like, you know that Lex, Tom, and Ethan have a final three alliance that was stopped short by Kim Johnson. I mean, Kim Powers was kind of lackluster, I thought. She was an okay character, but kind of lackluster. I like T-Bird, but... And then, of course, the first two episodes of the season I thought were painfully slow as well. I mean, you pretty much knew Diane and Jesse were going to be the first two voted off. And then, of course, like other than the old versus new stuff, there's really nothing that goes on in the pre-merge. Other than, like, lions running up on their camp. There's just so much downtime. I guess that's one of the bad things about this location is they don't really have a lot to do in this area. They just kind of sit around within, like, they have, like, I guess, like, I don't know what that plant was surrounding their camp. Like, some shrubbery, like, surrounding their camp to keep lions out and whatnot. But, yeah, and then, of course, the mush, as Big Tom called it, the grits. And the challenges were kind of boring too, other than like the cow's blood challenge. One moment I did forget to mention, the Survivor auction. That was a great Survivor auction. Like, he's a Jew, he won't eat the ham. Like, how can you forget about that? So, yeah, Big Tom just going crazy over pancakes. You have, I think it was Lex and Teresa that were trying to bid on fried chicken and mashed potatoes from Kim Johnson. And, like, Ethan getting hot chocolate, or it wasn't hot chocolate, but it was like a mug of chocolate syrup. Tom totally owning Jeff for beer. Like, he said 4,000. I don't care. I'll give him 1,000. That was funny. Big Tom losing 80 pounds. They did have the signal challenge where they had to make, like, a signal. Like, you have Tom running around with a feather in his butt, or whatever that was. That was kind of funny. So, yeah, like, this season definitely has its moments, but it's just so slow-paced that you kind of forget about it after you finish it. It doesn't have that same charm that the first two seasons have, or the same amount of memories that the first two seasons have. Like, I don't remember a lot of the challenges that they did. Like, was there even a car challenge? There probably was. Like, that's how forgettable it is. So, yeah, like, even though it's got a lot of memories, it's overall mostly forgettable. I will say it's average. It's a decent season. I would say it's a little bit more on the positive side, but when you compare it to the first two seasons, it's just very bland and forgettable. But again, it's fun for what it is. Brandon and Frank kind of make up for it. Tom, Lex, and Ethan, they're good. They're a really good threesome. And then the old versus young thing pre-merge. The location's great. Lions running up on their camp. So I will say overall, I do enjoy the season somewhat. It's just not a season I would rewatch again over multiple other seasons, especially the first two seasons. So yeah, it pretty much pales in comparison. So for a long time, I didn't know what score I was going to give this season of Survivor, but in the end, I decided, you know what, I like it, but it's definitely closer to the average. And with that being said, I am going to give Survivor Africa a 6 out of 10. So as a whole, while I do like Survivor Africa, I do think it's definitely inferior to the first two seasons. So there's my review of Survivor Africa. What did you think about it? If you have seen the full season, let me know down below in the comments what you think of this season, how it compared to the first two seasons, or really any other season. But yeah, let me know down below. Make sure to hit that thumbs up button on this video if you enjoyed it. And make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future. I do have a couple other videos planned outside of the Survivor reviews. And yeah, I should be able to do them despite all the coronavirus stuff. So yeah, make sure to stay safe out there. Wash your damn hands, use hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. I know there's a lot going on, but I'm not going to talk about it too much in this video. So yeah, just stay safe, be careful, and use some common sense. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos to come in the future. And until the next video, once again, my name is the California Cougar. And always remember to stay California cool. Peace.